How's it going, guys? Welcome to another video. It's been a little bit since I posted a video this year. I did want to try to be a little bit more consistent with my videos, and the past month I've been super busy with a few freelance projects that I just haven't been able to film for YouTube. But the video I've been wanting to film for a little bit now is this review on the Keychron K6 keyboard. Now, I'm gonna preface this video with I am not a keyboard expert. I am not a keyboard modder. I don't customize keyboards. The reason I'm saying that is most of the reviews I've seen online about this keyboard when I was buying it and other keyboards are from people who have a lot of experience with keyboards, and I don't. Before this, I had a Razer Huntsman Elite, which is great, but I wanted to downsize. I wanted something wireless, and so this review is going to come from the perspective of just your average consumer who doesn't know a ton about keyboards, just has very basic knowledge, and just wanted something that fits his space well and functions well, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. So as always, I kind of like to do these videos. I'm going to just do a basic pros and cons list, and at the end I'm going to just kind of give my brief thoughts on who I think this keyboard is for, who it's not for, and who do I think should buy this keyboard and if I recommend it. So stick around for the video. I'm going to do pros first and then cons, and yeah, hope you enjoy the video, and the links are also going to be down in the description, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I would appreciate it a ton. Pushing to 1,000 subscribers this year, so we're more than halfway there, which is great. So let's see if we can get there. So comment, like, and subscribe. Enjoy the video. Just to give a quick rundown, the Keychron K6 is a keyboard by Keychron, of course, and it is a 65% keyboard. And essentially what that means, it's just a very small keyboard that doesn't have a number pad. The arrow keys are fit into the bottom right corner of the keyboard, and then it doesn't have the function keys at the top, like the F1, F2, F3. Those are placed on the number keys at the very top. That's what the keyboard is for. So obviously it's a small keyboard, but the pro that I'm gonna give, the first pro, is that it doesn't feel any different for the most part. For work, I use the MacBook Pro. Even though that is essentially, I guess, kind of like a 70% keyboard or something like that, it does feel different when typing compared to typing on a full-size keyboard. Obviously, it's a laptop keyboard. It is a little bit different, but I still kind of feel the size difference on a laptop keyboard. I was concerned with this keyboard. It was gonna take a long adjustment period, kind of getting used to typing on a small keyboard, and I was gonna be misclicking and all that stuff. And honestly, there was zero adjustment period. It is a smaller keyboard, but the key sizes are the same. Felt like I was typing on a normal keyboard. There was no adjustment period, and I absolutely loved it. So that was one of the first things I noticed was that. And the second thing is, obviously, it is a wireless keyboard. You do have switches on the side of the keyboard that you can switch between Windows and Mac, and then also wired and wireless. And so you have the functionality to do both. Obviously, when you're charging it, you wire it up, and you can use it wired, which is great. The wireless function of this keyboard is fantastic. I bought a Bluetooth adapter because the motherboard of my PC didn't have built-in Bluetooth. So I bought a Bluetooth adapter, which I'll have linked down below because it's really good. It was cheap and it works really, really well. All my Bluetooth devices are now connected to that, and it's been great. But yeah, the wireless, I was concerned that it was gonna lag a little bit, or I was gonna have issues with it cutting in and out sometimes and whatnot. And so far I've had zero issues whatsoever. And so even when gaming, if I'm playing Valorant or Valorant's the only FPS game I'm playing right now on keyboard and mouse. Even playing Valorant, I can play it wireless, and I don't feel a difference between wireless and wired. Granted, I'm just a gold player. It's not like I'm a professional or anything like that. Switching between Mac and Windows, because I do edit all my work edits are on my work laptop, which is a MacBook Pro. I'm able to switch between the two seamlessly, which is fantastic, and I love. So the wireless connectivity of this keyboard for the price, I feel is fantastic. The third pro, obviously, one of the biggest reasons why I picked this keyboard is the aesthetic. I think it looks really good and really clean. I got the aluminum bezeled version, so it has this rim on the outside that is aluminum. Feels really, really nice and looks really, really good. If you want a kind of not super flashy keyboard, but something that's still a nice centerpiece to a desk, I think this looks really good. The RGB lighting function on this keyboard is great, and what I mean by it, I do think the RGB lighting is a little bit dark or a little bit dim, which I'm going to talk about in the cons list a little bit more in deep. But the way you switch the RGB lighting, you don't need a software, which is great. I think there is a software, but I haven't downloaded it. You just kind of switch between different settings on the corner light key. And you can switch between your static colors, your breathing between different colors, flashing, you know, your rainbow, Christmas tree style, RGB stuff. You have a ton of different settings. I'll put on the screen how many total there are because I can't think of it off the top of my head. And then when you want to switch colors, you just hit the function 1 key and your arrow keys and you can switch colors. Makes it super easy to switch between things. The last pro I'm going to mention is the switches. So again, this is the aluminum bezeled RGB backlit keyboard with the red switches, I believe. I'll put on the screen to make sure which one I got, but I believe they're the red switches. So they're the very linear, kind of silent one. They're not very tactile or clicky. And coming from the Razer Huntsman Elite, which I had the green switches on, which is like the traditional, really tactile, really clicky keys, which at first were really, really cool, but after a while I kind of realized how annoying they were. That's one of the main reasons why I also wanted to switch keyboards, is I wanted something a little bit more quiet, a little bit more professional, if you will, because I got kind of sick of hearing, you know, me clicking inputs even through my headphones and whatnot. So yeah, the action on these keys are fantastic. At first it was a little bit weird, especially when like gaming, kind of realizing like I don't have that like tactile click to know when I'm like hitting my inputs. But it really just took me like a few hours and I got used to it, and now like I'm obsessed with typing on this keyboard. Writing anything on this keyboard is great, editing on this keyboard is great, and gaming on this keyboard is great. Love the sound, love the way it feels. And again, I'm not a modder, so I know people mod this and they add foam and they do like different switches and, you know, whatever it is. That's not me. Out of the box though, I absolutely love the way these switches feel. Now let's talk about cons. Like I mentioned earlier, the RGB lighting is really cool as far as how you can set them and switch them just from the keyboard itself. However, I do think the RGB lighting could be a little bit better. And the main reason why is I feel like it's very dim. Even when it's dark in my room, like at nighttime and all of that, I still find it a little bit difficult to see the keys, and more specifically the function keys, because the function keys aren't transparent or translucent like the main, you know, characters on the keyboard. And they're yellow and blue against like the gray backdrop. I'm definitely gonna put B-roll about what I'm talking about, but it's definitely difficult to see. So when I'm looking at like my media keys, for example, like sometimes I want to like increase my volume and I think I pressed that one, and instead I press the mute button or the lower volume button, and I just wish they were a little bit brighter. And then just the keys themselves, like even when you're just like aesthetically looking at it with the RGB light on, you know there's RGB there, you know it's backlit, but at the same time I feel like it could be a little bit brighter. I think it would just make it look a little bit better. And the next pro is probably the one that pisses me off the most, honestly. And again, I am not a keyboard expert or anything like that, but I am an avid user experience critiquer, to be honest. And something that really bothered me a ton about the user experience on this keyboard is I do not understand why they put the USB-C connection biased to one side. Even more specifically, they put it biased to the left side of the keyboard. And for the most part, PC cases, even though they are swappable, a lot of them are swappable like right to left, I feel like most PC cases are always on the right side of a setup because the glass panel is on the left side of the desktop tower. So you would think if they're going to place it biased to one side, they would put it on the right side, so then you don't have to stretch a cable across your entire setup to connect to it. But they put it on the left side for some reason. In my head, it would make the most sense to put it dead center on top of the keyboard, like the top bezel of the keyboard, because it's going to be in the middle and it's going to be on top, and so you can run a cable behind your monitor and directly connect to the keyboard from the top of it. What I had to do, because the cable, that's the other thing, the cable they supplied was so short, and you know my desktop isn't, I mean, I'll show B-roll, it's pretty close to my monitor actually, but it's not like right next to my monitor, and so, or my keyboard or anything like that. So they supply a cable that was super short, and they put it on the left side of the keyboard, and I just thought it was like so stupid, and so I had to buy a aftermarket, or not even aftermarket, I just bought a HyperX Aviator like keyboard cable, which it's funny because it's actually a little bit too short anyway, so I think I may have to get a longer one eventually. But I had to buy another keyboard cable. I bought the Aviator curled cables, which would work really well too if the plug was on top of the keyboard, because then I can just plug it directly into the keyboard instead of trying to bend the wire. What I did do is I bought a little 90-degree adapter for the USB-C, so then the cable can come directly into it. I'll show it with B-roll because it's hard to explain, but comes directly into it, 90 degrees, boom, plugs in, and it's easy. Again, it might seem a little bit minor, but in my head it's just like so stupid that they would do that. And if you know why they did it, let me know down below. I'm sure it has to do with something with the internals. They can only fit it biased to one side, so that's why they did it. But I don't know, figure it out. To me, just user experience wise, give the easiest option for the user. So whatever, that's definitely my biggest con. Another thing that I wish they did, especially because I switch between Windows and Mac, so in the box you do get Windows keys and Mac keys, and you switch them depending on what system you're using. But I'm sure there are other people like myself who use both systems, and so I do wish that on, let's say right now I have the Windows keys because I use my PC the most, or I use the keyboard with the PC the most. I do wish that on the Windows keys there were the little function buttons, like the yellow or blue small characters of the Windows equivalent, because I don't know, sometimes I can't always remember where like the control and command key are on the Mac compared to the Windows. I just think it would be cool to have both on one set of keyboards, and then obviously if you're using Mac more, then you would put the Mac keys on and they would have the bigger Mac picture, but then still have the Windows picture, like small corner in the bottom. That's just me. I'm getting used to it by now. It's not a big deal, but it's just a minor thing, again, from a user experience perspective, that I think would have been a cool thing to do, and I just wouldn't really have taken away from the keyboard. So I don't know. So that's my pros and cons list. Overall, I absolutely love this keyboard, especially for the price. I think I bought it for just around like $80 or $90 from Keychron, and yeah, it's great. I love it. It looks really good. It functions really well. I think the important parts of the keyboard, which you enjoy using it, it types really well, it feels well, it sounds well, and then since this is wireless, it is wireless and it works well, and you're able to plug it in and charge it, even though it might be a little bit of a pain. I think the overall functionality of the keyboard, I couldn't ask for more, especially for the price point that I got it at. Definitely would recommend this. Specifically, I would recommend this for someone looking to step up their keyboard game. I stepped up from kind of the traditional Razer, Logitech, like that, like gamer specific style of keyboard and peripheral line, which there's nothing wrong with. But if you're someone wanting to go for a more professional look like I was, then I would definitely recommend this keyboard. If you want a wireless keyboard, I can't picture this working any better. So this is, perfect if you want a wireless keyboard. And if you want a 65% keyboard, this is definitely a great keyboard for you. I don't think this keyboard is for someone who wants like a very gaming specific keyboard. If you want media keys or like easy media keys to use like I used to have, then I definitely don't think this is the keyboard for you. If you want, a full-size keyboard, don't get this keyboard, obviously. But for the most part, if this keyboard fits your needs, I definitely recommend it. So I'm going to conclude the video here. If you're a keyboard expert, or you have this keyboard, or you're shopping for this keyboard, leave comments down below with your opinions, or what you think about my opinions on this keyboard. Overall, again, great keyboard, but would love to hear back from you. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at @TheJohnFernandez. Make sure you check out the links down below for the keyboard, and I'm also going to put the links for the cable I bought and the little 90-degree adapter that is actually super useful. So make sure you check those out, and I will see you guys in the next video, which is hopefully sooner than a month or 3 weeks from now. So yeah, peace out, guys. Have a good one.